Guess what? We're live. We're live right now. After a slight delay, we're finally live, and we're with you. I apologize for that. A little behind-the-scenes technical difficulties, so I'm going to be doing a lot of the production of the show for whatever reason because of the technical difficulties that our producer usually does. I'll be doing the pushing of the buttons and all that fun stuff here. So it'll be a fun-filled show today for that reason, and also the reason that Hugh Lamont Douglas III joins us on this fine Tuesday today. And guess what else is happening a little bit later today? We're going to be joined by Thomas Nicholas, who is no offense to my lifelong friends. Thomas Nicholas from Rookie of the Year fame, Thomas Nicholas from the American Pie films, and Thomas Nicholas from the most recent film Adverse is probably my new best friend on the planet. We just kind of hit it off, basically. I helped him host an autograph signing for our friend Bobby Capone of Overtime Promotions, and we did a 2.5-hour signing base. Well, he did the signing. I just kind of hung out. And then we talked yesterday. You'll see this, about a half-hour interview. We actually talked for about another hour, and I only recorded about a half hour of it. And I meant to. It wasn't like I missed a button and I didn't record it, whatever. So he's going to join us a little bit later in the show. Hugh Douglas coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll give you both interviews today. It's an action-packed Farzy show today here at the Steven Singer Studios. Welcome in. I appreciate you hanging with us. I see right out of the gate we got 20 people watching on just one of our platforms, so I appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. My man Joey Coconut's checking in. Say what's up, Farzy. Good morning, Joey. Nice to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start it off with this. There was a spicy meatball that dropped yesterday. And that was my old friend Adam Schefter sitting down with Jalen Hurts for his podcast, the Shefty podcast there. And Jalen Hurts revealed a bunch of stuff that it didn't really rub me the wrong way. It didn't bother me per se. Really what bothered me was the news that came out 2 days ago from Chris Mortensen saying that Jeffrey Lurie, and we touched on this yesterday, but Chris Mortensen reporting that Jeffrey Lurie has instructed the Eagles to go ahead and just operate as Jalen Hurts is going to be the quarterback of the franchise, the quarterback going into the future here. And that does bother me. And it doesn't bother me because I'm rooting for some kind of quarterback controversy. It bothers me because I feel as if Jeffrey Lurie is making the same exact mistake he made with Carson Wentz, which is making the quarterback feel entitled where he doesn't have to listen to anybody else but the owner. Now, he's the owner. He's the guy that runs the organization, okay? He's the money man. I get that to a certain extent. However, you have so many other links in command here, which, unfortunately for a lot of people, includes Howie Roseman, but most importantly includes the head coach of the football team. And whether or not Nick Sirianni is the nervous guy we saw in the press conference or a take charge kind of guy like some players said he was in Indianapolis in the locker room, regardless of what kind of guy you hired as your head coach, he's still your head coach and needs authority and should be dictating a lot of the roster moves here and should also be dictating especially who his quarterback's going to be going forward. Now, Nick Sirianni, throw out everything of the nervous Nelly stuff that we talked about during the opening press or during his introductory press conference. And if you just read the script of the press conference, read the transcripts, where he was asked about who has authority on game day over the roster, who has authority over the 53, and all that stuff, he was not exactly clear, but did say the word, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I have the final say on the 47 guys that I can dress on game day. I'm pretty sure. That ain't good. That's not good. And that means the owner, that means Howie Roseman, have a little piece of that pie, if not the vast majority of that pie, when it should be up to the guy that's actually installing a game plan, coming up with a scheme to defeat the other team, to outwit them, right? That shouldn't be up to the owner and shouldn't be up to Howie Roseman. So this just makes me feel like we're going to be, it makes me realize the worst fear we already had. And the worst fear we already had in all of this is that the problem is still here in Philadelphia. And it's not just one person. And it's been referred to as one person. The problem, as if it's an individual, one thing, is Howie Roseman. But it's not. It seems like it's going to be Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman. And then hopefully Nick Sirianni doesn't pile on to that. And if he's not that take charge kind of guy at all, that's going to present a huge problem for a lot of people that are still left behind here in Philadelphia after Carson Wentz moved on to Indianapolis and after Doug Peterson gets to take his career elsewhere. Probably a year from now, be back in the NFL coaching again. And that also includes us, the fans, that are sitting here and just having to take it. I don't like the idea of just handing it to somebody else, saying, oh, yeah, this is your gig because the other guy didn't work out. Good luck to you, Jalen. What happened to that healthy competition? What happened to that little competition that could push somebody a little bit further, a little bit harder than they thought they could go? Now, for this, I'll take a step back, and I'll trust a guy that played in the league for 11 seasons, and that would be Hugh Douglas, who'll be joining us momentarily here on the show, and he'll talk about that kind of push. He'll also talk about Dak Prescott, getting paid, as they like to say, $160 million, $66 million is a signing bonus, highest ever according to Adam Schefter. So there's all sorts of nuggets out there right now going on throughout the NFL that we're going to be getting involved in on this very program. Like I said, I appreciate you guys hanging with us there in the early goings where we weren't up and running, but we are now. So that's a good thing, obviously. Coming up a little bit later, like I said, we got Hugh Douglas and we got Thomas Nicholas joining Nicholas joining us a little bit later in the show. Let's go through some of the comments that Jalen Hurts did make to Adam Schefter on the Adam Schefter podcast. Some people I know are going to make a big deal out of this little nugget. Apparently the two, Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, haven't really communicated since the trade. I don't care. Some people will use that as the low-hanging fruit. Oh, Carson, how did you not say goodbye? Such a great teammate. What? Yeah. No, I'm good on that. I don't need any of that. This is what Jalen Hurts had to say about the trade in itself that now leaves him behind as the, for now at least, franchise quarterback. This is what the Jalen Hurts had to say to that. Kind of kept the same mentality I've had this whole time. I am trying to control what I can control and being the best player I can be. It ain't too much of my business. So I didn't get into that. That was on the Wentz trade. I don't blame him for this. Jalen Hurts seems to have a good head on his shoulders where all he's worried about is what's going on in front of him, not worried about what could be gaining on him, as Satchel Paige used to say. He's not turning around. He's not looking in the rearview mirror. I think he realizes he has one hell of an opportunity here. The difference is, hopefully, how he handles this opportunity. And the difference is also how he's going to handle the opportunity that Jeffrey Lurie is giving him. Because I think everything hit the fan with Carson Wentz because, as Joe Santoliquito pointed out in two different articles throughout the entire show, or throughout the entire throughout the last two seasons, was that Carson Wentz had the line to the bat phone. He could call Jeffrey Lurie. He could reach out to Jeffrey Lurie and say, hey, you need to get Howie in line, or hey, you need to get Doug Peterson in line, basically. He knew he had that out every single time. That's a hell of an out to have. That's a hell of a card to be able to play as an employee, to know you could go over the head of not just your quarterback's coach, not just your offensive coordinator, not just your head coach, not just your GM, but you could go to the owner as well. I don't like that sort of entitlement to a young player who hasn't done anything. And I like Jalen Hurts, and I don't want to spend the next 6 months ripping the guy before I see him as the actual starting quarterback, the guy being looked at as the starter going forward for the foreseeable future, at least. I'm going to do everything I can to not call him a franchise quarterback yet. But when you say, hey, we're going to build around you, that's a franchise quarterback. That's not a stopgap type of guy. Whether or not he has earned that, and yet whether or not he will earn that in the coming games of the season, that's yet to be determined. But I like the guy. I'm rooting for the guy. And for a lot of people that might be saying, oh, we really screwed up the Carson Wentz deal, which the Eagles did, this is the guy that we're stuck with right now, like it or not. So I'm not going to divide the fan base, nor should the fan base divide itself, saying, well, Carson's gone, so Hurts sucks. No, I would hope that you would root for the guy that's going to be the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles and root for him to be good at the job. And that's what I'll be doing. And I actually think he can play. I saw in the 4 or 5 games he started last year, in the time that he got, I at least saw a guy that belonged. And that's all you're really looking for when a guy's getting his feet wet in the NFL, especially in an offseason where he didn't get to go through all the proper protocol and all the other stuff that you could go through in a normal offseason. You're getting into the practice facility late. You had COVID to deal with, obviously. Your head coach came out during the season and said, yeah, he knows enough of the playbook to go out there and actually play. But if there was ever a season to grade a quarterback on a curve for being prepared and digested the playbook, this would be that season. So with all that taken into account, I'm okay with it. If they don't draft a quarterback early, which I don't expect them to do, you're riding Jalen Hurts from this point on. I just wish the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, I just wish there wouldn't be a report of Jeffrey Lurie saying, build around Hurts. Like, I'm sorry, what? I know you've been around football for a long time. I know you've been in the meetings at the front office and you've been helping to make big decisions and all that. But shouldn't you be leaving this up to the guys that you hired to be football people? And coming up in a minute when we talk to Hugh Douglas, he'll bring up some of that as well and help break that down for the people that have not played professional football and have not coached professional football. And I look forward to him doing that for us. But I do want to tell you about our good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there in Philadelphia. Do what I do every time I need a big gift, a nice gift every time. Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Whether it was my wedding band, my wife's engagement ring, my wife's wedding band, that's where we went, wedding bands, because she went to Steven Singer and she saw the little sandwich thing you could do there. It's beautiful. I'll say it's beautiful because it is. But fellas, ladies, if you need a great piece of jewelry, beautiful diamonds, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, go to IHateStevenSinger.com right now. Check out the appointment scheduler. You could peruse some of the inventory as well. Make yourself an appointment. Show up at the store. They let you in right there at the other corner of 8th and Walnut, and they sit down on a nice little stool there. They got all the jewelry right in front of you. You can look over everything, and a real jewelry expert walks you through everything, and they make you feel like $1 million right there. And then you can feel comfortable, because when some people are going to buy a diamond, they go into the store and they say to themselves, all right, I gotta psych myself up here for a little negotiating, right? A little haggling. Not at Steven Singer Jewelers. Everything already set at the perfect price. So you can just relax and worry about what you want to buy and how beautiful the person you're buying it for is going to look in your beautiful diamonds, your beautiful jewelry from Steven Singer Jewelers. IHateStevenSinger.com, or the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Now, we're going to jump now to the Zatos Investments guest line for our first guest of the show. Let's welcome in here on the Zatos Investments guest line my good friend for this Hughes Day, Hugh Lamont Douglas III. Now, everybody's favorite day of the week, because we just took Tuesday, we threw it out the window. And you know what we brought in through the front door? Our friend Hugh Lamont Douglas III on another installment of Hughes Day with Hugh. What's going on there, Hugh Douglas?
What's going on, Farzy? How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. We're inching closer and closer to baseball season. Football season, off season's going crazy. The All-Star game's finally over. We got some moves going on in Philadelphia. And I know you were in the thick of things there in Atlanta when it came to the NBA All-Star game. But I want to start off with this because every time I see a guy make a lot of money in any profession, really, usually in the sports world, I think of my friend Hugh Lamont Douglas III, and I think, dude, that guy got paid.
Got paid.
And Dak Prescott got paid.
Dak Prescott, I can't even say his name. He got paid so much. He got paid. You know what's funny? We were talking about this yesterday, and we were talking about how basically he holds all the cards right now. Even though he's hurt, he holds all the cards. And for him to get the kind of deal that they got, $160 million, I think it's like $70 million in the first year. That's not a bad deal for a guy that's coming off a broken leg. Really.
Yeah.
Really.
No, you're absolutely right. And $66 million, just a $66 million signing bonus, highest in NFL history.
Yeah. I mean, nice payday for Dak. I know his rehab. He probably went to rehab today or whenever he went to rehab or the other day, and he was probably smiling cheek to cheek because he just got paid. He won, and they really couldn't do anything about it. You know, with all the bad publicity that they got for not signing him before he got hurt. I mean, they did the right thing. I mean, he came up. He definitely came up.
How good is Dak Prescott? Like, let me just ballpark it for me, because I know in Philly, same draft year as Carson Wentz, I actually really liked Dak Prescott coming out of Mississippi State. But all the hubbub here in Philly was Carson Wentz, second overall pick. Where do you think Dak Prescott fits in when he is 100% healthy versus a guy like Carson Wentz and some of the other quarterbacks in the NFL?
You know what? It's kind of hard to say. I mean, because the measuring stick for quarterbacks now is a Super Bowl or Super Bowl caliber play. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just how it is. You know, you talk about the Tom Brady's, you talk about the Drew Breeses, the Russell Wilsons. That's the pedigree. So I think that Dak's a really good quarterback. Can he get them to the Super Bowl? I don't know. That's a tough one to say. That's a tough one to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's you know, and how hard it is to get to the Super Bowl year in and year out, and to try to get to one of them. I don't know. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but who knows? I don't know if that's the ceiling for Dak.
Okay, I got you. In terms of his ceiling being the ceiling, he wouldn't be a guy to get to a Super Bowl. You mean?
Yeah, you know, it's hard. It's hard, Farzetta, because you know you look at Carson Wentz and the way that he played. Now, technically, he put the Eagles in position to go to the Super Bowl.
Sure,
but Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. You know, so that's the thing. Like, if Carson could get back to that and get the Indianapolis Colts to the Super Bowl, that'd be great for him. Mm-hmm. You know, but to actually get there, you know, he got hurt. Dak's been a little banged up. You know, his offensive line has not been great from year to year. I think they have talent, but it's you know, you gotta peak at the right time, kind of like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did, and you gotta have a little luck on your side, man. And with Dak, I just don't know. And he plays for the Cowboys, so I'm not about to give him that much love.
Of course. Hugh, I want to ask you about this then, because there's stories coming out, more stories now about Jeffrey Lurie meddling even more in football operations. And there's a story coming out from ESPN, Chris Mortensen, saying that Jeffrey Lurie has instructed the Eagles to build around Jalen Hurts. So you can almost take that sheer speculation about the Eagles possibly drafting a quarterback at number 6 overall, ball it up, throw it away, and say Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. What do you make of Jeffrey Lurie kind of getting more involved in not just roster decisions, but really making a decision this early in the process, even before the draft, saying Jalen Hurts is the guy?
Well, I think when I hear this, Mark, I think that he's trying to put Jalen Hurts in a position where a lot of people are screaming for him to put Carson Wentz in. You know, because I hear from a lot of Eagles fans how the offensive line was an issue. You know, the running game was an issue. The receiving core was an issue. And I think that you saw a little bit of that when you saw Jalen Hurts out there. So now the new regime's coming in, and in order for him to be successful, you picked him second. So now if you go back and you pick another quarterback, it's almost like, you know, you don't believe in him. You picked him second, and when you picked him, everybody was looking around like, hold up.
Yeah, right.
So now you have him. So give him some weapons. Give him some weapons. So that might be the edict that Lurie is talking about. Just trying to put some guys around him, get him some protection, get him a solid running game, and get him some receivers, and see what the young man can do.
Okay. So you're looking at this almost as if this year, I hate to use the word trial run, but for lack of a better term, hey, I don't want to go through that draft process again of another quarterback and hit the reset button that much.
Yeah.
But let's see what we do have in this kid, because he showed some great flashes last year.
Yeah.
Let's see what we do have in him, in the athleticism, the know-how, all that. Get him some weapons and see how high this offense can fly, basically.
Yeah. And the only knock that I would have is that at least get him some competition to push him a little bit. You know, because you're going in, like, if you hear that as a young quarterback, Jalen Hurts works hard. I've heard that about him. I've seen the Instagram photos and everything he's been posting online and everything. I've seen all that. I'm not saying he doesn't work hard, but it's a little different when you know that somebody's behind you trying to take your job. I mean, you have a little bit more laser focus. Not saying that he's not laser focused, but you focus a little bit more knowing that you have to go in and prove to these people that you could be the guy. Because, you know, the reality of the situation is Coach Sirianno doesn't know Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. He hasn't played with Jalen Hurts. So to sit there and kind of force this quarterback on him, that might be something that it might not be a great fit. Who knows?
Right.
Because it's not his guy. I always use this Lion King analogy. You know, when the lions come in and the new lions come in and they take care of the little babies and they get rid of little babies so they can have some more babies. They want their own kids up in there. It's the same thing in football, man. You want your own people. You want people that kind of, you know, are like-minded like you, run your philosophy, and that's what you want at the quarterback position. So Jalen Hurts might not be his guy. Might not.
Well, this is what worries me. It should be Sirianni's decision as the head coach of the football team, but look, and I know everyone weighs in and all that, But wasn't this kind of how we got to this spot in the first place? With Jeffrey Lurie saying, I really like Carson Wentz, giving Carson Wentz that seal of approval. Carson Wentz felt as if he could always go to the owner. Doesn't this kind of do the same thing with Jalen Hurts? If the owner, the top dog, is coming out saying Jalen Hurts is the guy, isn't that a sense of security that that Jalen Hurts hasn't quite earned yet?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, because he has the job. I mean, and he's really the only competition he had was Carson Wentz, and we know the season that Carson Wentz had. So now you're coming in. And basically, to me, that would say that I got the job. So, I'm going to probably look at it differently. Now, in Philadelphia, in Philly, you got to earn that. You got to earn those stripes. People are going to ride with you until those games start counting. And if you out there screwing up, they're going to let you know. So he has to be prepared. He has to know where he is. And he has to know that if he's giving the keys to the city, if he's giving the reins to this quarterbacking thing, and this offense, that he has to make it go. He has to be prepared for what they're going to throw at him.
Yeah, we have a great reputation of being really, really honest with athletes.
And really, really patient. And really, really patient. Just the most patient place that I've ever been in my whole entire
Tourists, when they come here, they're like, can you guys speed things up a little bit? Jeez.
Man, it's so laid back in Philly, man. I don't know where they get this. But I don't understand why everybody always bring up that whole Santa Claus thing, man. And I tell them, Santa Claus had it coming. He shouldn't have been running his mouth.
Well, I've never heard you say that before. That is now right under my favorite quote all time about that instance. So that's number 2. You just gave me my second favorite quote. The first one is Elton Brand when he signed to Philadelphia in the max deal when he was still a player. He said, of course Santa Claus got booed. He showed up in front of 60,000 fans, didn't bring no presents. And I'm like,
yeah. And then, you talking trash, you're going to get got. You can't do that. You deserve that ass whooping.
Deserve those ice snowballs coming at your face.
Exactly.
We always have fun. God bless you. So we got this transition going on, as you talked about. How much power, not to go back to the subject too much, but it does revisit when you have these stories coming out about the owner. How much power does the head coach then have? First-time head coach, Nick Sirianni. How much power does he have over his own roster? Because it seemed like back to that introductory press conference from a month ago, it seemed like he had virtually no influence.
I would say this. On the outside looking in, I still think the roster is his. And I mean, listen, Mark, looking at that roster, it's not a far stretch to say you need a receiver, you need an offensive line, and you probably need another running back. So he's right. Like, if I'm a head coach, he's not too Mr. Lurie isn't too far from where I think this team needs to be. Defense needs to be tweaked a little bit. You're getting a little old. On defense. So you might want to infuse some young talent in there. You need some secondary players. You need some people in the secondary. But you need to figure out that offensive line. Guys are getting old. You're talking about Jason Peters trying to get another year and things of that nature. He's old. Man, listen, Jason Peters put up one hell of a fight the years that he played in the NFL. It's time to move on. I mean, it's just time to move on. He's not the guy that he used to be. And when you get older, those injuries, it's hard to bounce back from those injuries, man. And it's hard. The hardest thing that you realize as a former player or as a player that you ain't got it no more. You ain't got it, and sometimes, you just got to walk away. I mean, I know it's hard because, you still like, listen, if they're still paying you, you got to go get that bread. But getting back to what we were talking about, yeah, you need to get an offensive line. You need to get that offensive line fixed. And you need to get some guys to throw the ball to that can catch it.
Mm-hmm. Hugh, I want to ask you this question because I don't know. I have no idea how this works. I only read about it, that it happened. When they come to you as a player and say, we want to restructure your deal, obviously that's because they want to save some money somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Generally, it's not to give you a raise. That's happened with some Eagles. Lane Johnson has happened to over the years. They restructured Brandon Brooks' deal a couple of years ago after they won the Super Bowl to give Nick Foles some more money. Brandon Graham's going to restructure, it looks like. So when that happens, how do they approach a player? Have you ever been approached about restructuring your deal? And you have not. So
I have not. But I this is the way I understand it.
Okay.
When they say take a pay cut, it ain't no pay cut that the normal American, red-blooded American takes. It ain't that kind of pay cut. It's you get a check. Like, you get a check that day. Like, say, for instance, Mark, if your salary, let's just throw a ball. Say if somebody's making $12 million.
All right.
And they want to bring your cap number down. Like, say they want you to make $2 million a year. You get that $10 million. You get that in the form of a signing bonus. You get that bread.
Okay.
So, and you bring your cap number down because, like, okay, Ben Roethlisberger, when they talked about restructuring his deal, and they put some more years on the back end, they give you your salary or half of your salary up front. Like, that's an signing bonus. And you might put some years on the back end where they can stretch it out a little bit. But we all know that you're not going to get those years. And sometimes some of those contracts are backloaded and things of that nature. So, that's how you do that. So it's not like Brandon Graham's going to come out and be like, oh, man, they took my money. No, he's going to get that in the check. He's going to get like a fat check that day. He gonna get
so basically somebody from the accounting staff comes up to you and they're like from the front office and they're like, hey, we want to restructure. And you're like, yeah, you're damn right we're restructuring.
Yeah, restructure my deal. Give me my money right now. Give me my money right now.
I've always been curious because it's like, yeah, he's basically restructuring, push money to the back end. And I'm thinking, because sometimes, as you said, you don't get that money because that's not guaranteed money. But the money you will be getting is money you were supposed to be getting later up front.
Like, listen, as a former player, you don't worry about the back end money. You worry about the money that you worry about cash in hand. Perfect example. JJ Watt, what did he get? Like 20-something million? 31?
Yeah, 23 million, yeah.
31 guaranteed?
I think 23 guaranteed, 31 overall.
31 overall.
I think.
23 million? That's what you're looking at. You're like, all the mother years, like, if he's not, I ain't worried about the mother years. Give me that 23 million.
That's just gravy.
Yeah, give me that. Give me that. And if I get close to the end of that, which I probably won't, that's fine. But that's what you look at. And if it's a situation where you start to get into that chunk of that money and you're still playing at a high level, then you go back and they renegotiate your contract again and bring your salary, your cap number down.
I have to ask you this question to switch gears to basketball because you're in the hotbed itself. You're in Atlanta.
It was awesome this weekend from what I saw.
Really? Well, you go. Oh, okay. So, I didn't think you did because you got a good head on your shoulders about this stuff.
I didn't go anywhere.
Wait, okay. Was there a buzz in the city? Were people tweeting about it like crazy? Yeah. Was it talked about on the radio at 92.9 The Game down there in Atlanta that you work at in the morning? What was going on in the city?
It was packed. I mean, I saw a video of like bumper to bumper traffic downtown. You would swear that the All-Star game actually had people in attendance. There were so many people in Atlanta this weekend. I saw some people at 5-star hotels, the poshest hotels in Atlanta, shooting dice. Awesome. In the lobby. Shooting dice in the lobby. Yeah.
And you did not participate.
I did not participate, but I live vicariously through the people that came to Philadelphia on my Instagram because I follow a lot of people on Instagram. A lot of people were throwing parties. A lot of people from Philly came. I saw Meek Mill was here. Philadelphia Freeway. It was a lot of cats from Philly. So shout out to Philadelphia. Y'all represented here in Atlanta this weekend. I didn't see none of y'all though because I was at home.
He was like, thanks for the invite, and I'm not coming out, but nice to virtually see you.
I got invited, and I'm like, I ain't got no pants. I ain't wore pants in so long, and I'm like, I'm not putting no pants on. I don't have a matching mask because people were in the club, they weren't wearing masks. I'm good.
So I'm not quite like you. That's putting on, you're taking off all the weight and all that stuff, and you're working out, and the hair looks it's coming in. I will say that it's coming in.
It's coming in.
But I just took a walk outside, and I was just in my black sweatpants, and I just threw on whatever was on the coat rack, which was a black sweater, and I have a black face mask, and it was like I left the house. I walked by a mirror. I look like a damn ninja. Like, I only have the one mask, for instance.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, people have designer masks. I've seen some young ladies with the glitter mask. I've seen some individuals that have their family on their mask or whatever. I just didn't have a matching mask. I didn't have one. So I decided not to go anywhere.
Pass or fail. The people with the face masks that actually look like a mouth, smiling, or like the bottom half of their face. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have. As a matter of fact, I had a few of those masks.
Did you?
Yes, I did. I had a few of those masks.
Those kind of creep me out. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah,
they kind of creep me out.
Incredible Hulk. I had the Incredible Hulk face, and he was smiling.
Oh,
I had one of those.
Well, that's pretty cool. I'd get now. You would fit the Incredible Hulk description more so than I would, so it would make more sense on you.
One of those, and I just started wearing the fatigues. Like the bandana. I just started wearing the bandana.
Gotcha.
And only time I wear it is the only place I go is the grocery store. And I go to the gym. I really don't wear a mask in the gym because most of the time when I go, I'm the only one in the gym. But if somebody comes in the gym, as long as they're 6 feet apart, we're good. But when it gets up to like the number starts to rise a little bit, I got to go. I shoot them the deuce. I'm out.
Did you happen to catch the slight to Philadelphia during the All-Star game?
I did not catch the slight. You talking about the Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons situation?
Yes. They go to the barber, which, by the way, you're going to have to refamiliarize yourself with that scene.
Yeah, definitely.
They go to the barber. The barber tests positive for coronavirus. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons have not. They've tested negative a bunch of times, so hopefully they'll be able to play on Thursday when they return. But the slight on that was they didn't even get announced at the All-Star game.
Yeah, that was kind of tough. And then did you see the fact that Zion Williamson missed those dunks? He missed about 50 dunks.
I was kind of paying attention to the All-Star game. It lost interest for me so bad.
But it to me, outside of the slam dunk contest, I think they did a pretty good job. The slam dunk contest felt a little rushed. It felt a little rushed, and it was only 3 participants.
Right.
But everything else, the way that they did it, I thought it wasn't bad. It was kind of exciting to see them back. And then even though nobody was there and they had the fake crowd noise, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. See, I just don't like the format. I don't mind the picking teams. I don't mind team captains. I'm like, just what's so terrible about having a score? Not like every quarter. Like they don't have every quarter. Like I just enjoy watching the game of basketball.
They win one quarter, then they start over. Yeah, and all the other stuff. The format didn't bother me. I like the fact that they look like they were having fun. I mean, not like they're not always having fun, but this All-Star game to me felt a little different. It just, I guess, because of everything that has happened, and for them to be out there and looking at and running around and gallivanting like they were, I just thought it was cool. And to see Steph Curry out there just lighting it up once again in the 3-point competition, that was pretty cool.
That was cool. I do enjoy the 3-point contest. I always do. I used to really enjoy the slam dunk contest, and then it just seems like it's weird.
We're older, and we've seen it all. Like, I bet you the kids enjoy it. Like,
that's true.
Enjoy it. So
that's true.
We've gotten old, Mark. I mean, it's not for us. It's not.
We're no longer the target demographic, right?
We're not the demographic. You know what it is. No,
not us. Speaking of time and growing older, the last thing I want to ask you about is back to the Laurie Eagles situation here. Mm-hmm. And I try in every argument that I enter or raise, I always assume before I enter that argument, all right, let's take a second and let's just think that my gut reaction is wrong. And it helps me analyze the situation. Mm-hmm. So I'm putting myself in Jeffrey Lurie's shoes for a second here. And I'm just thinking to myself, what if I ran the Eagles for their most successful run in the Super Bowl era? And that includes your time with the Eagles, Hugh, under Randy Reid and all those playoff wins and conference championship games you guys played in and going to a Super Bowl and all that. So let's just say I was the ultimate overseer, which Jeffrey Lurie is. I started with nothing in terms of football knowledge, buying a team. I had my friend Joe Banner run the economic department of the department of it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But in that time, being in a football organization, learning from Andy Reid, watching so many players, trying to listen to other people evaluate that talent around you, if I did that for 25 years, owner or not, was just around it, I would feel like I really knew the game. I mean, I just know you, Hugh Douglas, and I feel like I know the game. But how would an owner feel? How would somebody like Jeffrey Lurie feel, who literally is writing the checks here? How would they feel, and how would they not? How would anyone not get involved and, as I like to say, as many others do, meddle in football operations? Like, to me, like I try to put myself in those shoes. How would anyone not want to meddle in football operations?
I think, he's the money man, no question about it, and he has the final say in all of that. But there are nuances in football that you have to be in it to understand. Not saying that he doesn't know football, because I think from the stories that I've heard about him in the past until now, he's come a long way. but that still doesn't mean you know more than the people that are doing it on a day-to-day basis that have boots on the ground. And I think that, as an owner, you got to kind of step back and you got to kind of let the coach do it his way, and you got to let him figure it out. This is a first-year head coach, and I couldn't imagine what that would be like to have the owner over my shoulder every day telling me you need to do this or questioning my every move.
Right.
I'm tired of that because, like, all due respect to Mr. Lurie, you ain't no football coach. You ain't no coach.
I agree.
Like money man, you're not a coach. This is not what you do. So let me do what I do. Now, when I start out and I'm taking L's and I'm taking consistent L's, then then we got it. That's the conversation that we have to have. And that probably ain't gonna go my way. But until we get to that point, let me do my job. That's what you tell me. Let me do my job.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I'm absolutely with you. And by the way, for the record, that's why I talk to you, because you do know more than me by 10 country miles, probably longer. Because I think anyone who's outside the game like me, you got to concede the point to people that have been in the game like yourself. Yeah, I'm hoping Jeffrey Lurie does that.
Yeah, but some people have great insight, and some people, you listen to them because they think outside the box. But there are certain things that, Mark, you just cannot, like, being in the trenches and making game plans and things of that nature. Like, yeah. You can see the game, players, but Coach Sirianni is out there making game plans, and he has a coaching philosophy that he wants to follow and things of that nature that you know nothing about.
Yeah,
my got to feel for the team when you know where it's peaking and when to back off and all the other stuff. That's a feel. That's all a feel for the game.
Yeah, one of my biggest fears just being in this business, interviewing someone like you and arguing with something that is just a nuance that I have no idea about. Really,
no, it happens. I mean, people you've seen hosts do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen people do it. I mean, and that's fine. I mean, because a lot of people see it differently. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But when there's certain things about, like, being in the trenches and being out there on the field and it's 4th and long, don't try to talk to me about that, because you know about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I rather tee you up and just let you run on it.
That's when you got to go ahead and step back and let me go ahead and talk what I talk. You know what I mean? You got to let me do what I do.
Now, Hugh, just take a step back. I played freshman year of high school, so let me tell you about what's going on.
I played in high school.
And you know what? You got – and by the way –
varsity jacket.
Hey, do me one favor.
What's that?
Nick Sirianni.
Did I say it wrong?
You're going Siriano. It's a totally different Italian family.
Okay, I'm sorry. No disrespect to the Italians that listen to this show. I had a feeling I was saying it wrong, but you know how I do.
Just say Miscusi.
Sirianni.
I'm only doing it because I know I could play with you on it. But Sirianni, Nick Sirianni, yeah.
Sirianni, okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to have you put the stank on it. Nick Sirianni. No.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do me like that.
Don't you? I'm so selfish. I'm literally just doing this because I know my dad will really enjoy it. Anyway, Hugh, always great catching up with you on another fine Hugh's Day. Hugh Lamont Douglas III, 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. Always check out one of our favorite former Eagles, Hugh Lamont Douglas. Thank you, Hugh.
Holla.
That was Hugh Douglas joining us on the Zatos Investments guest line. If you're just joining the show, we started a little bit late. I am pushing all the buttons here. A little technical difficulty. Couldn't connect with our producer, unfortunately. So I'm doing it all for you, folks. Doing it all today. But my thanks to Hugh joining us there on the Zatos Investments guest line. Coming up, we are going to talk to probably my new best friend, Thomas Nicholas, from Rookie of the Year fame, American Pie fame, and the new movie Adverse. Before we do that, we're going to go through the normal portions of the show here with our sponsors, the Morning Rush, and our social media check-in as well. And our big bet segment. I saw some of you doubting me yesterday. Yeah, who's the smart guy now? This guy. This sharp right here. Anyway, I do want to tell you about DraftKings, the people I do bet with. DraftKings Sportsbook. It's that time of year again. Conference tournaments are tipping off. Bubble teams are making their final push for a bid, while the top seeds are preparing for what they hope is a long, long run. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting new customers in the center of the action. Bet $4 on an underdog and win $256 if they win. How simple is that? It's bet $4 on an underdog in select college basketball games, and if they win, you collect $256. The bank is open. You got to call it first, though, obviously. Selected teams. Pick one of the many selected college team underdogs to make sure they could give you your shot at winning $256. All it takes is a $4 bet. No better way to put your college basketball knowledge to the test than to put the money where the mouth is. That's right there with DraftKings Sportsbook. Don't worry if college basketball isn't for you. DraftKings Sportsbook offers great odds and promotions on golf, hockey, and NBA hoops as well. DraftKings, safe, secure, reliable, and you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy when you sign up to turn $4 into $256 if an underdog of your choosing wins that bet. If they get the upset, you get the money. That's code Farzy and turn $4 into $256 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And how about our good friends at Zatos Investments, an up-and-coming luxury real estate development and investment company in the Philadelphia area. They design and develop top-of-the-line custom homes all around the city, ranging from small, single-family rehabs to ground-up new construction townhomes and condo buildings. Zatos also works closely with their private investor base to provide them with substantial returns on their investment, ranging from 20 to 40%. These guys are absolutely crushing it right now in the Philadelphia real estate game. To see their properties and also learn how you, too, can invest with Zatos Investments, reach out to info@zatosinvestments.com or visit zatosinvestments.com. How about our social media check-in? Here's one advantage of pushing all the buttons myself. I get the comments, everything right in front of me here. Eagles winner Bus says, what's up? Hey, what's going on? April. Futches? I see your name pop up a lot. April, you're great. If you work hard in Philly, we love you. If you don't put out the effort, good luck. I agree. That is, like I always say, professional athletes don't owe fans. It's harsh reality, but if you're going into a profession, right, that has fans, for instance, you're worried about your job before you're worried about fans. What I feel you owe fans above everything else is your maximum effort. Have a little respect for the people that are paying money to see you play. And I know some people don't buy into the idea, no pun intended, but some people don't buy into the idea that fans pay the salary. Make no mistake about it. We pay players' salary. If we didn't give a damn about what they do, there'd be no market for it. There'd be no money for it. Ergo, there would be nobody playing that sport at such a high level for that money. If we're not interested, well, guess what? No one cares. If we're not watching, if we're not going, if we're not buying jerseys and hot dogs and beers, yeah, there's no money to be made. So, yeah, we do pay the salary. But what players owe fans isn't always an autograph if you see them out in the street. Sometimes you just get somebody at a bad time. But what they do owe you is max effort. Going out there, giving it max effort every single time. That's what I think they owe the fan base. And that's why you have guys like Brian Dawkins and Chase Utley that will live in infamy forever in this city with the ultimate respect. You give it all. We love you to the moon and back. No doubt about that. Kyle, who, by the way, I believe was a big player in our autograph signing with our friend who's coming up in a minute, Thomas Nicholas, during the autograph signing, says Sudsy will challenge him. Well, the Eagles, I think, have to re-sign Nate Sudfeld before he challenges anybody. And he says that jokingly. I get it. But yeah, that's what you have to think about. Not only are you saying build around Jalen Hurts right now, you're saying build around Jalen Hurts, and so far we don't have anybody else to really even back him up at this point. So it's all on his shoulders. By the way, we're usually live on YouTube right now as well. We're not live on YouTube. The show will be uploaded to YouTube a little bit later on, so we'll make sure we give you that. That was the social media check-in brought to you by our good friends at Steak and Main in Northeast Maryland. Check out steakandmain.com for more information. As for our morning rush, it's one thing, and I'm just going to make a statement. I touched on it yesterday, and it's got nothing to do with the sporting world, folks. Sorry. Flyers, by the way, they play tonight. That's our morning rush. For that, I don't care, and I never have cared about the Royals. If you feel oppressed, if you feel like people that are in a higher social setting than you are keeping you low, then I do feel for you and do everything you can to fight that. But as far as the Royals go, I've never cared. I just thought it was all. I think it's always just been a weird thing. And I know that they're supposed to be ambassadors to the United Kingdom and all that stuff for the rest of the world. Look, if Harry and Meghan are feeling oppressed, then take care of your business. And that's how they're taking care of their business. I do like the one tweet I saw where Oprah was bored and she just decided to take down the royal family. I guess that's what's happening. I know a lot of people are paying attention to it, and that's just insane. Also, I felt like I needed to make a confession to a lot of people. I still watch The Walking Dead. Anybody else still watch The Walking Dead? Because I find myself now, as I'm watching The Walking Dead, asking myself, why am I still watching The Walking Dead? And it's gotten to the point where my wife isn't even watching anymore. She's just on her phone the whole time. But my curiosity, and they're supposed to go into the last season, it's like supposed to happen in the summer. It's like, well, I've already put in not even 10 years because we got into the show late and we binged when it was good. And now I'm just like, yeah, I guess I'll just keep watching. Anybody else watching that show still? No? Hate watching it? I think I'm hate watching it right now. That was our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars. Check out skymotorcars.com. We've been talking about this, and I got big bets. This is the game, by the way, that I told you to bet last night. They went into it at minus 17.5. That was Gonzaga going up against St. Mary's. Gonzaga won. Gonzaga covered. Boom. Right there, another win for me. I think that makes me at 20-5 since we started the show. Pretty good. So DraftKings, thank you very much for that. We'll come back and recap the show. But before we do that, I did sit down with Thomas Nicholas a couple of different times over the last couple of days. And just such a joy to talk to this man. You know him from a whole bunch of movies. I'll let him explain for himself. But make sure you watch Adverse at some time in the very near future. The show looks absolutely incredible. It's going to be out there today. Without further ado, joining us again now on the Zatos Investments guest line, we're going to talk to my new really good friend, Thomas Nicholas, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear from him. Joining us on the Zatos Investments guest line, I would call him my good friend. I met him a couple of days ago over the phone. Then we did an autograph signing that was like some kind of record length long, like 2.5, 3 hours, whatever it was. Please welcome the man you know him from the American Pie movies, from Rookie of the Year, Kid in King Arthur's Court, and his new movie Adverse is available on streaming networks right now. Please welcome into the show Thomas Ian Nicholas. Thomas, how are you, my friend?
Farzy, dude, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I thought for sure after we broke the Guinness Book of World Records for online virtual signing events the other night that you might never speak to me again, and yet here we are.
Yeah, and we're talking for like an hour before we even start an interview, too, as a matter of fact. And yeah, another shout out, by the way, to Overtime Promotions, our man Bobby Capone that set up everything and did all that. I had a blast with you. I felt like I have known you forever, and not just because I followed your career and your movies, and I was, 11 years old, around the time you were, around the age you were when the movie Rookie of the Year came out. I feel like I've known you forever.
Well, we grew up together, but we only just got to meet for the first time digitally in the new world where we don't meet anyone really anymore. We just meet like this. Yeah, I'm just an avatar.
This is how if I see you in person, I won't recognize you. Put a digital screen in front. I got you.
P.S. You did get my mom's approval. She watched the entire 2.5 hours, and I said, "Was it terrible, Mom? Was I good?" And she said, "No, it was good. You look like you guys were having a fun time." And Mark looked like he was enjoying himself. I was like, okay, good. I hope I didn't make a bad first impression on Farzy.
Not at all. Not at all. Literally enjoyed it. Very much, legitimately enjoyed it.
Next time we'll put a time limit on it, though, just so you know.
You got a hard stop time,
A hard stop. Like you could put like a timer in the system, and it will literally just cut us off at an hour.
Yeah. Now we did start it off appropriately, talking about your new movie, and like I said, we all know you from American Pie, and obviously Rookie of the Year, but this new movie, Adverse, that is available now for people to watch on streaming platforms, it looks intense. Like, is this up there with your most intense role ever? And you were also a producer on this. This seems like a wild ride of a movie.
Yeah, this is definitely my most intense role that I've done to date. I look forward to doing more roles that are intense like this. But if you liked Taxi Driver, with De Niro, obviously made by the incredible Scorsese, who I've portrayed in a film. I've played Martin Scorsese. Anyway, that's another story. This is that kind of slow burn movie, character-driven piece where you're really investigating these flawed characters. Everyone has a flaw. And then at the end of the film, it's worth the wait. It's worth the payoff. Similar to, just like Taxi Driver was. But this role is completely different for me. I don't look the same way. I don't speak the same way. I don't move the same way. And I got to be with an all-star cast: Mickey Rourke, Lou Diamond Phillips, Sean Astin, Penelope Ann Miller. The list goes on and on. So yeah, this is my fourth film with Brian A. Metcalf. My fourth feature that we've produced together. He's the writer-director. And it's by far, I think, our best work.
Now, to just give the synopsis for people, you play a rideshare driver that gets into a little bit of a mess here because you're trying to help out your sister.
Yeah, I discovered that my sister is in debt to a dangerous crime syndicate. The film actually was inspired by unfortunate true life events for Brian. He was dating a girl years ago that got involved with the wrong crowd and ended up becoming a drug addict, and they ended up parting ways. But that experience inspired him to write this story. He just changed it slightly to where my character Ethan, it's his sister that's going through the turmoil and making the wrong choices.
No, I highly suggest, and I'll tweet out the link to the trailer. It's like 90 seconds of, oh my God, what happens next type of thing. And you look like you're phenomenal in this. And like I said, intense, I think, is the right word to sum it up. So
well, if you go to adversethefilm.com, we've got a website that has the trailer as well as links to all the VOD outlets. Since obviously everyone's like, well, which one is it on? Go to the website, adversethefilm.com. There's links to all the streamers, and then also links where you can get it on DVD if that's still your bag. If you still have a DVD player. I think they don't make cars with CD players. I don't know if they make houses with DVD players anymore either.
That actually reminds me of one of my favorite parts of our marathon autograph signing. Well, the autograph signing where you were signing stuff and I was just hosting. Your son saw your VHS tapes. And what did he think they were?
He saw the VHS of A Kid in King Arthur's Court and A Kid in Aladdin's Palace, and he said, "Oh, cool. You have books of those? Can I read it?" And I'm like, "Son, it's not a book." Because, the VHS, in his mind, he knew what a DVD was. We had some like DVDs, we weren't just streaming. But yeah, the thickness of it, he thought for sure it was a book.
Son, sit down. In ancient times, we used to watch these things that were almost like mini reel-to-reel machines. What's a reel-to-reel? Never mind. But while we're on the subject real quick, your son is in show business now as well, right?
Yeah, he's sort of following in my footsteps. He's got a very small part in Adverse. He plays Matt Ryan's son. Matt Ryan, you know him as Constantine on the Constantine TV show, as well as now Legends of Tomorrow. He's reprising his Constantine role. So he plays Matt Ryan's son. I come to the door. So we have a moment together. Unfortunately, the big moment between us, we had to pretend that we didn't know each other. That landed on the editing room floor. So he's only like I said, just a bit in it. But then he goes on, and during COVID, we ended up going to the Dominican Republic, and he shot the new M. Night movie, Old. that Universal's putting out in theaters July 23rd. So when they dropped the trailer in front of 100 million people during the Super Bowl, I called Brian A. Metcalf and Kelly Arjun, my business partners for Adverse, and I said, I think we should have given Nolan a bigger part.
That's a lot of FaceTime right there. That's the sweet spot there, being in the Super Bowl ads, no doubt. So first off, do you go by Thomas Ian Nicholas? Do you go by Tom? What do you go by?
Hey You usually works. Daddy.
Okay.
Daddy. Well, you don't have to call me Daddy though. No, I'm Tom or Thomas, and of course, it's obviously a big point of conversation to change one's name. I'm not referred to as a symbol or anything, but I'm sort of dropping the Ian with Adverse. I feel like this is a turning point in my career from comedic roles that I'm known for into more serious fare, and I'm trying to pretend like I'm an adult by not being Thomas Ian Nicholas, but being Thomas Nicholas now.
Gotcha. Okay. Now,
so maybe we can all pretend together that I'm an adult.
You're all grown up. Well, in Adverse, you have this long hair, which is different than pretty much anything I've ever seen you in before. And it kind of helps people make that adjustment to, oh, this is going to be a serious thing. And then you start smacking people around with a tire iron. And then it's like, yeah, I have never seen this guy do anything like this before. This is insane.
Not quite as long as my COVID hair was last week when it was down to here. And I look like, Dave Grohl's illegitimate son.
Now, most of my audience, as you know, are sports fans, and they're always, curious about sports movies and all that. So, to ask you about Rookie of the Year, what was it like for you to not only be in a sports movie, play an athlete, but also play on the hallowed ground of Wrigley Field?
It was incredible, an experience that I've never forgotten. I still get to go out there once a year since 2008 and throw out the first pitch. Of course, had to do it virtually last year, singing the seventh inning stretch, that is. I didn't virtually throw out any pitch last year, but I love being on the field. And as soon as I'm instantly transported to that time period back when we shot it in 92. And then, of course, you can't have a good sports movie without some Bill Conti music.
Oh, no, of course not.
He only wrote the greatest theme music of all time for Rocky and Rookie of the Year.
And you know what? You pointed that out to me. I didn't even know he did the score for Rookie of the Year. You educated me on that. A little sort of Philly connection there.
Well, it's one of those funny things where with my band, and I've played at Milk Bar there in Philly, as well as the Khyber. But I'll people will ask for me to play songs from my movie. So I did this frat party album, which is all my favorite songs from American Pie. But then every once in a while, people will be like, play some Rookie of the Year music. And I'm like, I can't do Bill Conti in a rock band. I'm sorry. Maybe the drums. That would be about it.
What are some of your memories when you come to Philly? What jumps to mind about Philadelphia?
Obviously, I'm like it or hate it. I'm a Pats guy. I like
Pats
the
and Geno's,
grunge.
you mean the steaks, the cheesesteaks?
Yeah. But I know that still makes me a tourist because everyone's really like, oh, you mean you still go to Pat's? We don't touch that. We're local. We go to Steve's.
More or less. Steve's, Tony Luke's, Ishkabibbles, Jim's, D'Alessandro's. Right. Yeah, all these places.
Yeah. All my friends would give me I have a lot of friends that live in the area, and they all give me a lot of love about. I haven't been there in a while, but that was always my go-to thing. I'm a Pats guy.
The rule for a Philadelphian is pretty much you can't go there unless you're highly intoxicated and it's past 1 a.m. That's the general rule, at least because they're open.
Listen. I don't think that I've ever been there any other time under any other circumstances. Just to be clear.
Well, then you're practically a local. You're practically from Philly. You get us, man. You get us. This was really interesting. You were supposed to get Rookie of the Year. You you auditioned how many times for Rookie of the Year?
Well, I auditioned for it once,
okay,
and I did not get a call back. In a unrelated set of circumstances around the same time period, my agent dropped me over a miscommunication. So around that time, I had no callback and no agent. So then I was searching for a new agent. I found one. They were searching for kids in New York and Chicago and LA. So they were still holding auditions. My new agent said, I got you an audition for Rookie of the Year. I said, oh, I already went on that and they didn't give me a call back. She said, well, they obviously don't remember you. So go again.
Persistence is key. Persistence is key.
Persistence is the pathway to perseverance. Yes.
Very good. Two people that I want to ask you about that you worked with in that movie, amazing careers, especially Daniel Stern. Always seems like a guy that is just a fun-loving guy. Certainly seemed to be that in the movie. What was it like working with Daniel Stern?
Danny is amazing. He's like the sweetest, nicest guy, not, zany like the characters that we've seen him play, of course, in the Home Alone movies. And, he's even, but, it's similar too, actually, it comes to mind in talking about him, thinking about his comedic skills versus his dramatic ones. Because he goes back into think about the dramatic films that he was in, like Very Bad Things, or even way back in the day, Diner.
Sure.
So, it's one of those amazing things where we sometimes will look at an actor in a certain capacity, either dramatic or comedic. But there's often times that so many of us are doing both. I don't know. It came to mind because he's so zany and yet obviously has the ability to be serious. And in real life, he's just very caring and sweet.
And similar to obviously what you're doing right now with Adverse coming out, and people can check that out, and some other serious roles that you've already portrayed. The other name I do want to ask you about as well is one that's in the news a lot for different reasons than acting, and that's Gary Busey. From what I understand, you guys had an interesting working relationship on Rookie of the Year.
Listen, Gary was really nice to me on set. I mean, he was the nicest to me. He once carried me by my underwear 25 feet across the lunchroom. But you have to remember, he was the nicest to me.
To you. That's good. I like how you put that.
That was the nicest thing that he did.
Is there circumstances surrounding this? Did you was there something that spilled on the floor? He didn't want you to walk on it, so he picked you up, and the underwear is what was there?
No,
I don't know.
I remember like being in the lunch line, and he ended up being behind me, and he just like kind of was like, he's so high at that time, and even now, just like frenetic energy. And I remember like he probably like, poked and prodded me like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And I was just kind of like, what? I don't know. I'm just trying to get lunch. And then the underwear and, 25 feet across the lunchroom. And what are you going to do?
Nothing. Thank you, Mr. Busey. But yeah, obviously that movie just resonates with a lot of us here.
Two. I'll take two. Sorry. Now I'm going into Point Break when he tells Keanu to get him some hoagies. Two, Utah.
I like that you did refer to him as hoagies, another colloquialism here in Philadelphia. There's
nothing else to call them, Farzy. There's nothing else to call them.
Thank you. Those people with the Boston and the subs and the grinders and whatever, get the hell out of here. The other movie I want to ask you about, the movies, the American Pie movies. Now, as you said, we kind of grew up together, but apart, obviously, same generation. And I love how you put that, by the way. And these movies are movies that I certainly grew up with. A lot of people that watch this show and listen to this show on the podcast grew up with them as well. That had to be, you go from Rookie of the Year, you go Kid and King Arthur's Court, and then you go to these teen sex comedies, as they're so affectionately referred to, and it's almost an about face, where they're still fun-loving type comedy movies, but dealing with some issues that a lot of teenagers are going through at the same time.
Yeah, it was. The joke was it was Henry Rowan all grown up, but at the same time, because they advertised the film as an unknown cast, it took about 7 years. So I kid you not, I was at least in my mid-20s before someone was like, wait a second, you were the same guy that was the Rookie of the Year kid. Kevin Myers and Henry Rowan is the same guy. What?
We're quick. Fans are quick. Let me just tell you, we're really good at putting things together. Real good.
I mean, to be fair, like, how often would you see someone you knew at 12 and then you see them, at 18 and you know it's the same person. If you didn't grow up with them and you're just like looking from the outside.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Here's the thing with you. Here's another difference between.
I mean, did you know when you saw American Pie that was Henry Rowan Gardner?
Oh hell yeah, I knew. Absolutely, I knew. It's mind blowing that people didn't know. But this is also from my perspective. Like me now, at this age, I look like I'm my 12, like the 12-year-old version of myself. I could be my great grandfather. Like that's how I've aged. You've aged a lot better than I have, my friend. So I put it together. I'm shocked that people wouldn't. I was talking to people on the show about an interview Tara Reid did, your co-star from American Pie, where she talked about producers wanting to get together to make another movie, another American Pie movie, another sequel. Is there a shot that we have here at maybe getting another installment of the American Pie series?
There's always a shot. I think that privately, we've all talked about it. Like I've talked about it with Sean. I've talked about it with Jason. I've talked about it with Chris or, with Tara. I think we'd all be open to it. But really, at the end of the day, none of us own the IP. That's Universal's call. And
okay.
As far as I know, Universal is not making any maneuvers for us to make another American Pie movie. And the first, like when we were talking about the reunion, I remember I ran into Adam Hers, who was the writer that wrote 1, 2, and 3. And he told me that he was like, hey, I'm thinking about putting together like a high school reunion version of American Pie. Like, would you even be interested in that? I was like, oh yeah, for sure. He said, good luck getting everyone's schedules together. And sure enough, it took 3 years for us to get that one off the ground, just like maneuvering everyone's schedule.
Mm-hmm. Now in our brains, so it doesn't look likely is what you're telling me.
Well, what I'm saying is, okay, just to put it all out on the table. When we were doing the press tour for American Reunion, John and Hayden, who've now gone on to do Cobra Kai, with great success, with of course Josh, who did like Hot Tub Time Machine, all that. So they got Cobra Kai. So they had a sequel idea for American Pie 5, and they had pitched the studio, and I got Hayden to tell me the storyline of what that pitch was. Now, it was my misunderstanding at that time. I thought they wrote it. I thought Universal was going to do it the next year, and I was like, cool, this will be great. We'll do another, like, I don't know, if another three-peat, we'll be like that sports team that had three wins and then like went away, and then like new star players came in and we had 3 more wins. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I thought that's what's going to happen. And then when we didn't do it, I thought, okay, they must have taken the script and put it on a shelf. So I joked for years that there was some sort of script like in like the Indiana Jones, warehouse of Universal.
Sure.
That was just collecting dust that was like, in some sort of wooden box.
Right next to right next to the Ark of the Covenant, obviously, of course.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Not even the same studio, I don't think. But anyway, in any case, I was wrong, because when Tara was having this same conversation 2 years ago, I texted John and Hayden and I said, hey, is there something that I should know about? He goes, no. And I said, well, you guys wrote a script, right? And they said, no, we never wrote a script. We had a pitch and Universal never pulled the trigger. So it's just a pitch.
Gotcha.
So I've been trying to like peel back all my years of interviews of saying there was some script, some invisible script collecting dust. There's no script. That's all I got for you.
All right. I understood.
I know. I wish it was better news.
No, you know what? I'll get over it eventually.
I mean, my personal goal is a sequel to Rookie of the Year with my son playing Henry Rowan Gardner Jr. And now art is imitating life, because now, right? Now the Cubs have actually won the World Series, which is what they did in this alter reality with Henry Rowan Gardner. And now everyone's waiting to see, like, can they do it again before we like lose out on all these like star players that we have?
Mm-hmm.
Before their contracts change and they get traded and all that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I feel like it's art imitating life. I think we can swoop in with a long awaited sequel of Rookie of the Year.
I think so. And here's what I like about Rookie of the Year that you also pointed out to me that I just didn't realize. You win the world. The Cubs win the World Series in that alternate universe in 1993, which means Joe Carter never happens to Philadelphia.
Yes.
Is that a reach? I think it's a reach, but I don't care. In this alternate universe, we don't have to go through the heartbreak of Joe Carter breaking our hearts, unfortunately.
Pretty soon we'll just be able to choose our own adventure, and we can just we all live virtually now anyway. Just pick out the things we want and don't want in our universe digitally.
I love it. I love that idea. Yeah, no doubt. So just real quick to wrap up American Pie. Do you keep in touch with any of these guys, friends in real life? I know all people usually wonder that stuff. So how often or how much in touch do you stay with these people?
Well, the last time that I obviously saw anyone in person was about a year ago, besides my family and the grocery store clerks. But right before the lockdown, I had done an event, a Comic-Con event in Liverpool. I got to jam with a band at the Cavern Club, which is where the Beatles got their start. And Chris Owen, who played the Shermanator, Shannon Elizabeth, who played Nadia, they both came to the show at the Cavern Club. Chris Klein, it was a little past his bedtime, but he was at the event. So we were all hanging out together at the event. Prior to that, when I was shooting Adverse, I had the same production design team that was working on Lethal Weapon, the TV show. So I went to the Warner Brothers lot to pick up some supplies in the 5-ton, and I was like, "Oh, how's it going on the show? Is Sean working today?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, let's go surprise him." So I happened to be there. So no joke. So I'm waiting by Video Village by the monitors. I'm watching him shoot his scene, and he comes. They're gonna change the camera setup. So he comes to where the chairs are. Comes around the corner and he sees me and he goes, "What are you doing here?" just like the essentially the opening of American Reunion. It was pretty funny.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome, man. Now you also come from a lengthy show business family, which you already mentioned. Your son is following in your footsteps, the big time star that's in all the Super Bowl ads. Your son and your daughter, who is 5, writes music.
Yeah, she is. We're all working on a project together called The Robot Kid, which is music for kids and animations for kids that won't annoy parents. And so my daughter is already written 3 songs. And so she'll write a great melody and lyrics, and then I'll write the music underneath it. And then kind of we'll work on the song together, and she'll tell me what she likes and does. I mean, she's legitimately, I think, writing better melodies than me. My son's doing better than me in acting. My children are just surpassing me, and they're not even in the double digits yet.
Well, how about your wife? Are you a better DJ than your wife? Because I know you're into playing music. She's into DJing music.
She's a DJ and a singer. She has her boutique label, Candy Talk, that is actually releasing a retrospective album of a local Philly boy, Pete Moss. So the Days, I think, it's coming out soon, or I think they've already been talking about it and doing interviews. I think maybe the first disc is out. I'm not sure. We don't keep up on each other. I'd have to go check my wife's Facebook page to find out exactly where she's at with her project.
All right, man. That's great. And you were telling me the other day, was it your father or your grandfather that was a comic with Sinatra?
Yeah, my grandfather on my dad's side was a stand-up comedian. He used to open for Frank Sr., Frank Jr., the Jackson 5, way back in the day. He had a variety show that was local to L.A. I won't mention him by name because I think he got blacklisted. So we're not going to talk about him by name,
okay.
But he was. I actually never. I mean, I obviously met him when I was really young, but I don't think I ever really met him.
Gotcha.
But I do know that he was, a stand-up comedian.
If you were to tell one person before they started a sports movie that maybe didn't have the most experience playing sports, what piece of advice would you give that person? Like your son, is your son an athlete? Does he play sports at all?
I mean, we will go and kick the soccer ball around in the yard and have fun. But no, he's not really I remember he joined karate when he was 5, went to 3 classes. Yeah, I'm out. We went to soccer camp, he was did like 2 weekends, like 2 Sundays. And he's like, yeah, I'm out.
Okay.
But then, he got into piano and he's like, oh, I don't know. I said, you're staying in this one.
Okay.
Because I feel like the arts, you can kind of do forever.
Yeah, you don't age out of it.
You don't get like sports or injuries. You don't get like, musical injuries that cause you to never be able to play piano the same again.
Sure. You had not played that many sports before Rookie of the Year. From
none. Yes.
So what advice would you give to somebody trying to portray some type of athlete in a sports movie?
Well, you've got to go and start learning, which is what I did. When I booked Rookie of the Year, I was absolutely excited. And because I knew nothing about baseball, as far as like how to play and how to pitch, I linked up with, a neighbor who played college baseball, who taught me the mechanics of pitching and how to, and we went out every day for 2 weeks. And I learned how to, started out like 15 feet. And by the time I was done with the 2 weeks, I was throwing regulation 60 feet, 6 inches and kind of hitting it, mainly in the strike zone.
That's great. Last question for you.
Granted, they were only about 46 miles an hour.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're 11, 12 years old when you're filming that. That's bringing the heat, the high stinky cheddar, if you don't mind me saying. Yeah, well, I didn't have any CG on that, community college ball field that I was learning how to pitch. Gotcha. No computer graphics there. Gotcha. I always like asking actors this, especially when they're from such memorable films that people grew up with. When you're out and about, what do people yell at you? Is it funky butt loving? Hey, Rosenblatter, you got it, Sally baby, something from American Pie, all the movies there. What do people yell at you as you're just walking down the street? I mean, as I'm walking down the street, no one really yells at me, thankfully. Not yet, anyway. Unless, of course, I've forgotten to pay my bill. And then, gotcha. Excuse me, sir, come back. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, there have been moments, and it depends on what I'm doing. Obviously, if I'm in my everyday life, kind of minding my own business, I typically don't get too many cat calls in that regard. If I am doing something like playing with my band, then there might be some more moments. And the one that is the funniest to me, it doesn't always happen, but the funniest one is, hey, Rowan Gardner, you suck. And I think my favorite story of this is 2008, playing a show in Bloomington Normal. The promoter, who's now a friend of mine, had booked me. There's like 1,000 college kids at this venue. I'm playing a solo acoustic show, and these 5 like really big dudes are in the middle of like this 1,000-person room, and they start yelling this, Rowan Gardner, you suck. And I'm laughing because I'm getting the reference. The promoter comes side stage. He's like, hey, come over. I'm like, what's the matter? It's like, you having a problem? You need me to throw those guys out? I'm like, no. They're just referencing a movie. He's like, what do you mean? They're yelling at you. I'm like, no, it's fine. We're good. They can stay. Never saw Rookie of the Year, did he? No. He hasn't seen Star Wars either, so. Oh, he's I think he still hasn't seen Star Wars. Those movies will catch on eventually. People will see him. In fact, I'm going to call him right now and see how much money it will cost to get him to watch Star Wars this weekend. Tell him to watch Adverse first, and then Star Wars, then Rookie of the Year. Yeah. First the tire iron, then the lightsabers. I got you. All right. So where can we watch Adverse? Available Tuesday right now. People can check it out. Where can we see it? Well, if you go to adversethefilm.com, all the listings of the VOD are there. Apple TV is the one that comes to mind first. I know it will also be available on Fandango Now and Google Play. But probably, I mean, everyone's got Apple TV, so absolutely, that's probably the way to go. We will check that out. Thomas Nicholas, a pleasure getting a chance to speak with you, do the autograph signing for Overtime Promotions. Our friend Bobby Capone, pleasure speaking to you on that platform for 2.5 hours plus. And we said we were going to sit down for a 15-minute interview, and as per usual, we went double the time. It has been a joy, my friend. I wish you nothing but continued success. People, go see this movie, Adverse. I can't wait to check it out in its entirety later today. So, Thomas, thanks so much, brother. It's been a blast.
Dude, Farzy, thank you so much for having me. It's great to know you. I look forward to spending many more digital and one day in-person hours with you.
I look forward to it. I absolutely look forward to it. Thomas Nicholas, thank you so much. Go check out Adverse, available right now. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Farzy.
Like I said, I think we're best friends. I think that's how that works now. But yeah, Adverse available on streaming platforms, so make sure you check it out. Like I said, thanks for joining the show today, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me, and thanks for waiting earlier on during the show when we were waiting to get started. It is much appreciated. I will close with this. First off, April, you're hitting me up here. Apparently, I did butcher her name. She's heard worse. Miss Scusi, I apologize. But let me close with this. Just to go back to the sports area of all this, I hate what the Eagles are doing right now. And as I started the show, I don't like the idea of Jeffrey Lurie coming out of the gate and just saying that he wants Jalen Hurts to be the guy they're building around. There should be a competition. There should be something there to push. That was my gut feeling about it when Hugh Douglas joined us earlier in the show. He said the same thing. That helps give you just a little bit more of an edge if you're a competitor, which Jalen Hurts is. But in the other aspect of this, it seems like Jalen Hurts is going to take nothing for granted. And really the future of the Eagles, it isn't on Howie Roseman's shoulders. It's not on Jeffrey Lurie's shoulders. As of right now, with the direction they are going, it's all about Jalen Hurts' shoulders and how he responds to the responsibility that Jeffrey Lurie seems to be giving him right now. And he at least seems like a guy that is going about this with the right attitude. And until we see the tangible stuff on the football field amount in wins, that's the best feeling you can have going forward, is at least your starting quarterback going forward now at least looks like he is ready for that responsibility and has at least his head in the right place. So hopefully that's what will play out, and we'll know a lot more in the coming months, especially with the NFL draft getting underway in less than 2 months. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We'll have the show uploaded to YouTube in a little bit, as well as the podcast available as well. This is the Farzy Show from the Steven Singer Studios, and it is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. My thanks to Hugh Douglas and Thomas Nicholas as well. Have a great day, everybody. Take it easy.